Okay. Hold up. So everyone, okay, we want to introduce everyone to visual artist Albert Shivers. He is the owner and the creator of the Planet Shivers podcast, which features all different artists of all different walks of life. He's done many artists that are fantastic. You can find his podcast on all platforms such as Facebook,
Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and with video content on YouTube.
Yeah, there you go.
I said that so many times that it just
comes to you. It's okay. We're like wherever you can stream podcasts.
Yeah, wherever you can stream podcasts. That's what I should have said. He has amazing artwork. You can find his artwork on Instagram. We'll talk more about that later.
Yes.
But I'm gonna let him take the floor, and whatever you want to say about yourself, Albert, go right ahead.
Well, you covered it pretty good. I specialize mainly in illustration, ink drawings, and collage on the visual art side of things. And every once in a while, I'll do a painting. I also do my Planet Shivers podcast that Courtney mentioned. It's visual artists, musicians, and just interesting heads. Even if it's not someone artistic, if it's somebody interesting, then I'll have them on just for the conversation of it.
Right. Ooh, that scared me. Sorry, I don't.
I saw like a bunch of turkeys.
And
I'm just trying to share. I'm doing a watch party so I can get some more people on and get involved. So if anyone sees me looking down, that's what I'm doing. I'm just sharing and trying to get some engagement here.
Yes, but continue to tell us more about the people that you are inspired by.
For the podcast, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
To at least obviously get some interest in inspiring to, get them on the show. Like, how does it get narrowed down to like, you know what, I need them on the show?
Two things really, if you narrow it all the way down,
Mm-hmm.
is that will they be a good subject, obviously, in terms of do they have something to say? Are we going to sit quiet for an hour, or do they, or do they have a lot to talk about?
Right.
And secondly, I think about the stranger. Is it going to be entertaining to the stranger? If you know the person, I mean, obviously I know most of the people on,
right.
Or if I don't know them, they're of interest enough to me to ask them to come on.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested, but
right.
also thinking about big picture, is this going to be someone whose story or work is going to be interesting to somebody walking in blind to the podcast? Because I want to also keep it entertaining. I want people to leave wanting more. I want people to be able to get something from it intellectually, but also have fun.
Right.
It's light and fun too. So that's my main goal with it, to break it way down.
Nice. Because I mean, of course, we've been featured on your podcast, and I've listened to quite a few of them myself, and I feel it's very. I feel like you're actually having a conversation with someone. Like, I don't feel like it's like interviewee. Like, I don't feel like, and especially with like your little quirks that you have in the middle of it, like your little sounds or like your little sayings and stuff was really cool. But I really do feel like you have a conversation with someone, like you said, where it's like, you kind of are, talking to a stranger, at least to you, that you might have some interest in. But, it's just the overall scale of like, it's really interesting how you like get people talking. And I think that's the most fun about it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a dance that I'm sure if you laid all the podcasts end to end, that I've been able to get a better handle on listening to what someone's saying, being engaged in the conversation, but also having that next question ready.
Right.
For when, because you don't want dead air.
Right.
So to have that next question ready without not paying attention to what they're saying. And I thought, you go into it, you think you know what you're doing, and you realize you don't.
Right.
And then you go, okay, now it's time to figure out what I'm doing. And I watched other interviewers. I listen to a lot of podcasts. So I pick up notes and ideas from various other shows, podcasts, even things as far back as like 70s talk shows. I'll pull as much from a new podcast as I may pull from Dick Cavett.
Okay.
So I just a little bit here, a little bit there, and try to build my own style amongst it.
Okay. Now,
Prunella's watching. Hi, Prunella. How you doing?
Hey.
Heather's watching. Hey, Heather. What's going on? They're starting to chime in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if you can see Albert. You can't see anyone on Facebook.
Can't see, but that's all right.
Okay, it's all good. Oh, there you go. There we go. Now we got something rolling here.
Yeah, there we go.
So Albert, how does it feel to be having your very first show during this pandemic? This is the first physical show you're having, right?
Yeah.
How does that feel? How do you feel about that?
I feel lucky, first of all, because it's, you sit around for months and months and months. So you guys came to me, you want to do this show, and I was ready because I'm sure, like a bunch of other artists and creative folks, you're just sitting here you're producing.
Right.
Which is what I was doing constantly, because what else is there to do? So, I go to the store for 20 minutes, you run in, you run out, so you don't get cooties, and then you're home the rest of the time.
Right.
So I was chomping at the bit to interact, first of all. Human life is at galleries, working with you guys, having people come in, even though it's minimal. Just this social interaction, I think, is just as important to me as having the art on the wall for people to look at. So that's I was excited, very excited to have the show, especially that you guys are doing it based on my jazz work. So to have somebody, even if it's just you two, to have somebody show an interest in the favorite little section of my work, something that I'm really interested in, then that, makes it even more exciting, because I'm interested in my art naturally, but for it to also have the twist of the kind of music, or one of the kinds of music that I'm really into, it's fun. It's fun. I've been looking forward to it.
Yes, absolutely agree. Because for myself, it's definitely one of the genres that I've always adored, I've always loved, and I've always had in my playlist. So, for me, it's definitely something that I can obviously sit there, listen with records with you all day, and probably stare at your artwork all day, just because it's based off of that. And I'm just like in total awe already. And even if it wasn't just the jazz bass, which I know you absolutely love, any of Albert's work is just phenomenal. I've seen some of his work up close where it's just strictly I feel just cross hatching, and it's just mesmerizing. You would never think that somebody sat there. And even in the sense, even if it was, because I know sometimes you've told us that you've done, maybe an hour here and then put aside, and then done an hour another day, and then an hour another day. But just for the patience as well as the detailed, meticulous work that you put into it, it's crazy determination, crazy steadiness of the hand. It's insane, insane. So for that, and I can definitely see the passion that you put into it just because it's jazz oriented. So that's the thing that I'm most excited about. I'm excited to see some new pieces that you've been working on.
Yeah, I've been doing pieces strictly for the show.
So excited.
That I've purposely not posted. So for folks to come to the show, there'll be something there. If it moves you, there'll be something there that you haven't seen yet. If you are on my Instagram or Facebook, there's some new stuff there that hasn't been seen. And there's also stuff there that you may have seen before, but never quite as big as it will be.
You know how I feel about big pieces.
Yeah.
So that's up my alley.
Right.
And I'm excited. I'm excited to see especially the detail, like you said, and I always tell you how it amazes me how productive you are, how you're able to finish something from beginning to end with such detail and the same quality, and then better quality as you evolve in your artistry. So I'm excited, and I'm, obviously, Sylvia and I are very honored to be part of it with you, and helping you and being part of your journey and watching you evolve,
Thank you. No, like it's really like, not to be cliche, but it's such a group deal. I'd still be sitting on my hands had you two not contacted me and said, let's do the show.
And you know what? That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for, because obviously right now it's a really difficult time, and for a lot of us, and as artists, because the industry is changing as we know it. We're doing so many things virtually now, which is obviously we're grateful, we're thankful that we have the ability to do these things virtually, but there's still nothing like that in person community, that in-person community, and we didn't want to lose that. Obviously we shut down like we all had to do. We had to do what we had to do, but now what we're doing is we're taking it. We had to take it as an opportunity to make this more about artists, the individual artists, because our game plan in the beginning was group exhibits, which is awesome. Like 4 or 5 artists, they come, they submit their work, and we're all community. But right now we're taking advantage of the fact that we can't have so many people in one place. So like, let's focus on the solo artists so they can get their time to shine, and they can invite their people, and obviously taking it down to 10 people at a time, 10 people per slot, so we're happy that you're happy. That's the whole plan.
Yes.
Cool.
That is the biggest joy for us. And now, obviously, since you've been working on some new pieces and you also have been interviewing some new people for your podcast, tell us a little bit more about that and who you had, lined up for your podcast that you're going to be, featuring soon, and some of the work that you might be featuring.
Well, it's funny. Everything sort of converged and almost without my planning. So this weekend is going to be the jazz show. And August, it's up for debate, but for the sake of the conversation, August 4th was Louis Armstrong's birthday. And this past week, for the podcast, I interviewed Louis Armstrong's daughter. And that was pretty great. It was just recently his birthday, and you get the jazz show coming up. This episode hopefully will be coming out this coming week. But we had a phenomenal conversation. She's making a movie about herself. Without going too deep into it, she was born out of wedlock in 1955.
Wow.
So everything couldn't really be out in the open,
right,
for a number of reasons. So with that said, Armstrong passed in the 60s, and now 2019, let's say, because that's when she started the film project, she's just now ready to tell her story.
Wow.
About being, not to him, she made sure to say, and I'll make sure to say, that Louis Armstrong was a great father to her. But in terms of the rest of the world, it had to be a secret. So we get into that.
That's intriguing.
Wow.
Because, here's a child born out of wedlock to a Black jazz musician in 1955.
Right.
Everybody in Armstrong's life told him, like, you can't tell anybody about this kid. Like, it'll mess up your career. And, he went with that advice, whether you feel it's right or wrong. He took that advice, but he always wrote to his daughter. They spent a lot of quality time together.
Aww.
And, for the first 16 years of her life, they were very close. So
that's really amazing.
It's very interesting.
That's backstories that you usually don't hear. And it's amazing that people are still, around, obviously, to tell those stories and tell their part of it, which is amazing. Because I would have never, like you said, like you didn't even know that, she even, was around, which is absolutely phenomenal. Like, and I think that's such an amazing backstory that I'm glad she's telling that story, because a lot of people would never know it. And that's amazing.
Right. And the thing is,
so amazing.
especially now, if you were to ask the average person what they know of Louis Armstrong, it would be What a Wonderful World. And that's fine because he still lives.
Absolutely.
You know, he was born in 1904 or something. So that's a whole lifetime of contributing to jazz and American music from the 19 teens to now. He isn't, he shouldn't be forgotten about. So having his daughter on to talk about him, to talk about herself, her mother was a jazz dancer, and that in and of itself is a whole nother interesting side of this woman. She talks about that as well. So any snapshots we can get into the past, whether it's 50 years ago or 30 years, it doesn't matter. Any snapshot we can get from the source,
right,
someone who was right there and lived it, is interesting. So that's another thing about the podcast, is to chronicle these stories, because they'll go onto servers and on YouTube and on my hard drive, and they'll be there, long after long after all these people are gone.
Right. No, and that's the legacy that people love to have, because at the end of the day, you're right. Like, it's going to precede her and today until whenever, and that's stories that people need to hear. And you're absolutely right about that. And that's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
You know what I was going to add to that? You know what, Albert, can you tell the audience a little bit about who Louis Armstrong is, actually? Because there may be people who don't know who he is, who he was.
Okay, well, this is the Albert Shivers version.
Okay.
I pick out my favorite parts. So Louis Armstrong, again, born in the early 1900s in probably one of the worst parts of New Orleans. There was no chance that anybody was making it out. He worked briefly for a Jewish family who delivered coal. And it was this Jewish family who bought him his first cornet, which is a little bit smaller than a trumpet. And that's when he started to play. He wanted the cornet, and out of the kindness of their heart, it seems, they just bought it for him. And he started to play. He ended up in a few, like they called them at the time, they called them waifs homes for like children who didn't have anywhere to go. Now, he had a mother, but it was rough. So he ended up in these homes. He got bounced around a while. He ended up playing with some of the absolute best of early New Orleans jazz. Those are the ones who taught him. Buddy Bolden, King Oliver. These are guys who really started things. He played with them, and then eventually was convinced by his then wife to go solo. And he pretty much, in terms of the things he invented at that time in jazz, most of it was call and response. Trumpet would play a little something, cornet would play a little something, this guy play a little something, and they'd all interact with one another. There really were no solos. Okay, even a few bars barely existed at that time. So he was the first one to really make the solo more regular for jazz records. He would take solos, other instruments would take solos. He was also the first one to sort of scat sing. There's a legend. The truth of it is skewed. I'd like to think it's true. That in the middle of singing a song called Heebie Jeebies, he dropped his sheet music. And the recording, it's rolling, the tape's rolling. And at that time, you didn't screw up a take because there was
money on the line at that point.
Big money. So he didn't remember the lyrics, the sheet's on the ground. So he just started to imitate his trumpet. That's what his original scat singing was him imitating his trumpet.
That's so crazy.
Isn't that interesting how... Go ahead.
And then it was just, he just kept building and building. He played in a lot of bands, played with Fletcher Henderson and Duke Ellington, and inspired Dizzy Gillespie and Miles and all those guys that came way after him. And my favorite Louis Armstrong thing, just to close this out with, is that in the early 60s, he recorded Hello, Dolly. A lot of people know that recording too. So by the early 60s, jazz was all but gone from the pop scene. Bebop took over. It wasn't really audience friendly. So the audiences who wanted to dance and have a good time started to latch on to jump blues, which then turned into rock and roll.
Right.
So jazz was not existent in the pop world. Louis Armstrong records Hello Dolly, and it not only becomes a #1 hit on the pop charts, beating the Beatles' Hard Day's Night in the early 60s, which was a feat in of itself. It was the last time a jazz tune was #1 on the pop charts.
Wow.
So here's this dude who created so much, birthed so much in jazz, and sort of was the last hurrah for jazz also in a way.
That's so crazy. Wow. And like the crazy thing is to think that he created something without even really knowing it.
Yeah.
And the thing is with the improv that he just was kind of like, you know what, I gotta figure this out, even if it is, not the exact story, whatever the case may be. But I mean, I would likely like to believe that, if there's money on the line, I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna, do up, beep up, beep it up, just to try to figure out getting to the end of that set, because at the end of the day, you can't. If it took him 50 cents to do it, he might not be able to get another 50 cents until he books 2 more shows down the line. So, think about that struggle and that drive to get it done and work, push through it. That's amazing. Like, that is so, so amazing.
Yeah, for sure. Like to see that, something come from almost like a mistake, like dropping something, and to make history.
The thing about it is, though, that goes across all art, really. How many times, now, Courtney, you're a painter. Sylvia, you do photography. I'm doing art. You will run into a problem, and sometimes you just got to wing it.
Right.
And that's a risk. Now, especially like for art, if we're working in paint or when I do ink stuff, when you lay that ink down, that's it. It's down there. You could white it out and, Mickey Mouse around it, but you'll always know that the White House there or whatever. But to take that chance and to have it work, it gives you confidence in your art. And it just came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really like the essence of art, is to have a plan. To me, have a plan, but in the middle there, leave room for winging it or improv or no plan at all, and just kind of see what happens. Like, take the net away and just totally rely on whatever skill and talent you've mustered up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely. And speaking of it, how do you usually deal with your hiccups? Because for me, I feel like you are a calm, cool, collected guy, and there is probably no way, shape, or form that you're looking at this piece and you're like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna scribble over that, or be frustrated, about if you did mess something up in your mind. So, like, how do you usually push through that?
I first try to laugh at it.
Happy mistakes.
Yeah. I'll either, if I hit a wall on a piece of art, there was a time when I tried to push through it.
Right.
But, it's like driving a car too fast around a corner. You can only go so much, then you're going to crash. So if you push the art too much, you'll end up just acting purely out of wanting to do it. And the art's gone, that third eye is gone, and you're just doing it just to do it. And then 9 times out of 10, you may not be happy with it. And I've done that. I pushed, and then I end up either not finishing it because I'm that unhappy with it, or, it just gives me more trouble to work through. Mm-hmm. I'm not afraid to put a piece down and come back to it. Most of the time, I end up thinking it's not as bad as it was, but there are times in those moments where, at the very worst, like, I have to stop myself from just tearing it up. Like, it can go, it depends. If I'm really invested in a piece and it screws up, or I hit that wall, it can be frustrating because you're really you're really going, you're really into it, and then you hit a roadblock.
You know what, Albert? Like, and whenever I hear you like say that, you know, I feel like that's so inspirational because I feel like that's sometimes like the artist's biggest challenge is like depending, like is like moving past that, what you just said. You know what I mean? Like being able to just like keep going, and it is challenging, but I feel like that's so powerful that you're able to just like take it, move on. You already know not to get stuck on it, and you keep moving forward with stuff, you know, because I've had my own struggles with that as well, you know, and sometimes we call it painter's block, you know, like whatever form we, you know, whatever names we call it, you know, so, you know.
The one thing about it is I always try to have more than one piece sort of going at once, because if I get stuck on this piece and I really can't, I know I'm going to screw it up if I keep pushing, I'll still have this one to work on, you know? So it's not completely, it's not walking away from art. It's not turning my back on the process, but it's just like, I can't look at this one anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that you can carry momentum. If you get stuck on one, you could still carry that momentum to another piece.
Okay. So it's like you kind of keep the pieces lined up where it's like you might kind of, you know, have to one and then have to another one just so you can.
If I get stuck on one.
Right.
Yeah.
He just threw a gem out there just now.
Yeah, seriously.
Like, you know, because it does, like all things, like, you know, if we're in a mood, it leaks into other parts of our lives. That is a really good point. I've never heard anyone say it like that before. Mm-hmm. That's a really good point.
There's so much that can happen when you walk away from it. Literally like a TV show. You say, I'm going to put this art down and think about it. Next thing you know, you just watched 3 hours of The Office and no art got done.
Good show, though. Good show.
No, geez.
Right. I'm not knocking the show, but I'm just, you know, so it's good to have that other one sitting there,
right,
ready to jump into. So you just keep productive. And this is just what gets me through. I would not even suggest it, but I wouldn't lay it on another artist and say, you got to do it this way. This is what worked for me. And if it works, you know, for somebody else, then that's
right. Then just try it out. See it. Right. Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Very interesting. I just wanna give a few shout outs real quick. Caprice is watching. How you doing, Caprice? Hey. What's going on? We got Taylor watching. How you doing, Taylor?
Hey,
thanks for stopping by. We also have Patty and Marie. How you doing?
Hey, Patty.
Glad to see y'all here. Thank you for supporting us and watching. Hey, she got the phone now. Yeah. She's taking the phone. Yeah. Well, the thing is, you can't see that. Oh, there you go. Genius.
I tried.
Yeah, no. We're trying to get it up so I don't have to constantly keep looking down at my phone.
Gotcha.
You know.
You got this.
Okay. There we go. That's making me uncomfortable. Hold on.
A lot of things are making me uncomfortable. There we go. We're figuring this out. Okay. Technical difficulties. Yeah. So, with that, speaking of obviously working through the hiccups and things like that, now with you having so much time on your hand during COVID and obviously working through that process, has there been any like new techniques that you've been experimenting with, or have you picked up anything different in this time?
Yeah, I think so. One thing that I tried to do, which sort of works, I'm still, you know, tightening it up. But so I do a lot of cross hatching, and the blend of the cross hatch to go from the darkest point to the lightest point ways to kind of smooth that. So I've been combining cross hatching with stippling as a way to blend out of the darkest part of the shade. And some pieces it's worked. Like I said, with anything new, you still got to kind of tighten it. But that's one thing that I sort of stumbled across, was to give that a shot.
Nice. Okay, cool. And now, just out of curiosity, have you always gone towards, you know, pen and ink, or have you like experimented with any other kind of like paper or pens or, any kind of different, medium at that point?
Not really. I like to paint once in a while. It's rare.
Okay.
But I do like every once in a while. But my way of thinking about it is I like to do collage very much. And that's a very good break from pen and ink. But I think it's important, for me at least, I chose pen and ink, and that's what I'm going to do. And not that, I'm never going to relax with it. I'm always going to try to keep making it better. What can I do different? How can I make this line better? How can I make it look like this? So I've chosen that path so that I can just become better at that. I've spread myself thin in the arts. I did it for a long time and nothing was really going anywhere.
Okay. Makes sense.
Everything was just sort of maintaining. And I think we're all artists and want to keep going down the road.
Yeah.
And I wasn't, the light was not turning green.
I can understand that completely.
So I whittled it down and made pen and ink my main deal so that I could keep exploring all the ins and outs of it, because the deeper you get into any form, whether it's acrylic paint, oil paint, pen and ink, watercolor, there's so many avenues within the medium.
Right.
So that's sort of what I'm exploring. And then throwing in a little pencil and a little collage to combine the mediums a little bit. But mainly I try to stick to one and just get as much as I can out of the one.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. Because I was always curious. I was like, I've always wondered if he's like ever explored with anything else. Now tell us a little bit more about your collage work, because obviously, I'm a huge fan because I've literally sat there and drooled at some of your pieces of like, Albert, how? How? Like, you have these large pieces and I'm like, where did you find this stuff? So can you tell everybody a little bit more about your collage work?
Well, my collage work is 100% cut out from magazines, books. I do 99.9% of the time. I do not print off of the computer. To me, to my soul, it feels like cheating. I like finding the picture and saving it maybe for just the right collage, and then being able to use it.
Hey, Nana.
That's sort of the deal with that. And I also try to keep things scale. It's one of my favorite collagists was Romare Bearden. He was big during the Harlem Renaissance. And his work didn't always go this way, but a lot of the time he kept things in scale, which then in turn makes it look like one picture.
Right.
So that's a style within collage. You don't have to do that. That's what I tend to gravitate to be able to combine 20, 50, and in some cases hundreds of different pictures together and make it seem like one image. Now, it might be a little abstract, but even in those abstractions, I still try to make them make sense. If there's a giant, if everyone's normal size and one person is a giant, I'll still try to make that giant somewhat in scale with whatever else is happening. Like, my goal when I sit down is to make it look like one solid image.
Now, with that process, do you set up everything where you just lay it out, like before you like put everything down? Or is it just kind of like, hey, I cut this out and then I'm like, okay, I'm just going to slap this on here and then just work around it?
Most of the time, I'll lay it out. I lay it all down where I lay down everything where it needs to be. Then I'll take a picture of it laid out.
Okay.
Then I'll take everything off and start gluing, from the bottom up, because a lot of times things are layered. So you glue from the bottom up.
Right.
There's no fuss. So yeah, I'll take a picture and then I'll go off of that picture.
Okay, gotcha. No, that makes sense. Because even in my mind, like, because like I said, from seeing your pieces, I'm like, how? Like, how does he do this? Like, and it's like me trying to like mentally like figure this out, because I'm just like, okay, like, is it just like, boom, he just picked some magazines one weekend and was like, I'm just gonna do this whole theme and then just cut it out and then just glue these bad boys on. And I'm like, it could just be that simple. I don't know.
No way. You got a whole method.
I know.
It's the Planet Shivers method.
Yeah, it's years of magazines, Sylvia. You know, I pick them up when I can get them, and I'll go through them. I know enough to know where my art goes, to know what pictures I'm going to need or want, and what I don't care about.
Right.
So I'll go through magazines and sort pictures. You know, that was part of this pandemic. It makes the days go when you're just sorting pictures all day.
Right.
So I'll sort them into my little categories so that when I'm ready to sit down and do that collage, I can just reach over here if I want a color picture, if I want black and white, if I want a background, if I want an ad, it's there. I know where to reach for it.
Right.
Because it also, like we were talking about the flow of art before.
Yeah.
Interrupt the flow. If, let's just say, I want a picture of a woman seated, I need that for this collage.
Right.
If I have to dig through 30 magazines, then I'm all off kilt, even if I find it.
Right.
My attention's been diverted from the process of the piece.
Right.
I try to be as organized as I can be so that I don't lose the flow once I get going.
Right. No, I absolutely understand that. Because I mean, I've done it myself, or where I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to find this certain thing, and then like I'm getting this image in my head, and then I totally get distracted by, like you said, of like, you know, watching an episode of The Office, or, you know, something along those lines of trying to figure out wherever that train of thought was going, and then it's just either you derail or you stay on topic. But it's really just keeping in that flow and keeping that, you know, pace of what you're doing and not losing track.
Yeah, I could be real squirrely, so I know like how tight the reins need to be.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. Absolutely understand that. That's pretty cool though.
So Albert, what are some things that the people can expect to see at the show? Like, without giving away like the gem, not giving away too much of it, what are some things that we can expect to see there?
Well, literally, you're going to see my art, ink drawing, portraiture.
Love Albert.
You're going to see spans of many years. There are pieces in the show that'll be from 6 years ago. There are pieces that are going to be from 2 months ago.
Okay.
So I think that might be interesting to folks to see a piece that's very old and a piece that's very new. It's interesting to me even just to see, you know, how styles change. I think for any artist, if you look back at your art, then you look forward at it and you say, geez, I never see myself going there. And that's fun. Also, I think that you'll see musicians that you may not have known.
Okay.
And if you're open to that, there's a potential there to maybe learn about an artist or a musician who you may not have known about, and you might like them. You know?
I'm very open to that. Very, very open.
I'm open to that. But you already know what I'm gonna ask you next.
Right. Okay.
Tell us all, Albert, is there gonna be any Winehouse pieces there?
There will be. There'll be a few.
Yeah. Yes.
The thing is, I'm trying to think, there'll probably be maybe 3. And the 3 of them will all be a different style. So that's going to be interesting.
That is going to be.
As I go over in my head, yeah, they'll all be different.
Yeah.
You know I'm a fan. You know I'm a fan
Oh yeah.
That makes me goosebumps.
She is a good representation of new jazz style.
Yes.
And I think that
10%.
in the 20 like nowadays after the year 2000, we'll take any good jazz we can get, even if it's
right.
Yeah.
That is so true.
And her story is just like, I don't want to get too deep into it, but her story is just like crazy. You know what I mean? Like, just I'm sure you've seen the documentary.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen the documentary.
Yeah. Multiple times. Yes.
I'm sure we've seen it. So, you got any water over there?
I'm out of water. So,
oh gosh, I gotta take a water break.
Short.
Don't do any art after you watch the Amy documentary.
No.
It'll be very dark art.
Yes. Extremely.
Yeah, and that's what I meant, by like it's crazy because I don't know if I didn't know the severity of the situation until I watched it. Like I knew that she had some issues, but I did not know the severity of it, man. Like until I was like, wow, like they really did this woman wrong, and like she was just hurt. She was going through so much, And
with that in mind, were there any artists that you used as like inspiration for your work that you were like surprised by their story that you like looked a little bit deeper into?
Yes. Short answer. Long answer is that I can be morbid. And at one time on a different phone, my old phone, I was cataloging a list of tragic jazz deaths.
Really?
Wow.
Just to sort of put in perspective how rough it was and how uncertain things were.
Yeah.
For a lot, especially back in from the 40s back, it was a rough go, even for the best of them. Even for the musicians we'd look back at, and this isn't even just jazz.
Right.
Even the musicians we'd look back at as, they're celebrated and world renowned now, but at some point it was a tough road. At some point it got rocky.
Right.
So I got very morbid and compiled this list. One, in terms of jazz, one piece in particular who you will see at the show is of a vaudeville dancer, Ada Overton Walker. And she was a dancer and a singer. There's no known recordings or of footage of her.
What? I'm hyped.
I didn't know there was going to be a
Albert, I'm hyped.
Oh no, that's fine.
I didn't know when the party started. I didn't know.
I'm lit.
It's
I like that, but I'm lit. I'm hyped.
It's a show about jazz, so
what you got for me?
It has to be fun.
What he said? What he got? Let's see.
You're not listening.
So
got back here.
Two of the pieces that are going to be in the show are of this vaudeville singer and dancer, Ada Overton Walker. You go look her up. She has an interesting story, but the most interesting, now, it goes without saying, before I tell you about her death, that she was Black in the teens, in the 30s, which, lack of a better way to put it, was not much fun. And so this is her. I'll show you this just so you got a face to the name, folks.
Oh, wow. She is beautiful.
This is a lithograph of her. But her story, so she died very young, and on her death certificate is just insanity. Now, the thing about that is, at this time, if she decided, which probably was the case, if she decided to speak up about the way she was treated, whether it was the way she was treated for being Black or the way she was treated for being a woman, that was enough to make you insane. Not literally, but that was enough for them to say, oh, she's insane.
Wow.
So they throw you in the padded room or whatever. Back then, insane asylums were not held to the standards they were now.
Yeah.
So to have, to think about an artist like that who died, to my way of thinking, so open-ended.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the cause of death is shady. She was very young. You could say, like, you know, she didn't live up to her potential, probably, and her life ended without a period. So for the pieces I did with her in mind that you'll see at the show, it's kind of my way of keeping her going, sort of. You know, you got somebody who left the earth, her spirit left in not the greatest of circumstances.
Right.
And probably, again, didn't live the full life of being an artist that she probably should have.
Right.
So, and not just me, any artist, by putting people into your pieces and by putting them in front of the eyes of people who didn't know about this person, then you're kind of keeping them going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah,
that is huge.
There's definitely a lot of spirits in your artwork, which is,
I know they hang around all the time. It's hard to get sleep.
A night at Albert's.
Right.
It's probably crazy, right? Right? You got me thinking.
Right. Like, can we sleep over your house, Albert?
Yeah, there's a bunch of jazz ghosts who play music all night.
Wow.
Like, I gotta get up in the morning.
Speaking of music, so at the show, right, we're talking about having some jams.
Yes.
What you got for us, Albert? Got some records, got some vinyls for us?
Well, what I'd like to do is have the music that plays in the show be artists who people are seeing on the wall.
Okay.
Maybe if you like a piece of art and then you hear that person's music, you might want to hear more of their music.
Right.
You know, I think how fitting would it be to be looking at a Miles Davis picture or Billie Holiday or, you know, Artie Shaw, and you're hearing the music at the same time. You know, I think it ties it all together because the art is inspired by the music.
Right.
So they do sort of go hand in hand. Most of the time, I listen to the music while I'm doing the art just to get that little extra essence out of it. You know, pull the inspiration from the music. And who's to say, would it have been different if I sat in silence and did the piece of artwork? Probably. So I always try to have something going on. And a lot of times with the jazz pieces, I have either just music on or that specific artist's music on.
Yeah, so you really do channel them while you're working on their pieces, like their individual pieces.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. That's really awesome.
That's
lit. Something that you taught me too. Because that's a
really? How so? No, it's not about me. It's not about me. My life is coming, but it's not tonight. It's not tonight.
Yeah.
Not tonight.
You go ahead, Devo. You go ahead.
My fingers hurt. But there's a lot of muscle to snap your fingers.
It's no muscle, it's bone.
Well, my bones hurt then. That's bad. Oh, I can feel it.
You need that squeezy thing.
Yeah, because I use it with my hands a lot.
You know, honestly, not to go off track, but all that stippling and cross hatching gets to you. You know?
I was gonna say, how are your hands?
So
how are your hands?
It did bother me at one point, but when I started, I got one of those silly things that you squeeze.
Yeah.
You know, it looks like this, and it goes.
So you got like the nutcracker thing, or like the putty.
The nutcracker thing. That's the perfect way to say it.
I always looked at those things and I'm like, I feel like those are painful. Like,
those things made me very uncomfortable when I was younger. I don't know why. It looked funny.
I got up.
That's a whole nother life.
But since I've done that, I haven't gotten like cramps in my hands from drawing all the time.
That's crazy.
Like it totally took care of it. And I got up to the point where I would just sit, watching TV or in the car. I just sit and do, like 100 reps on each hand. And just,
because I've always tried, because like there will be so many times where I've been like, because I like type for a living, like I obviously do my own artwork, like I've literally gotten to the point where I've held like my Canon Mark D and my hand, and I've literally been like numb, because like either like my finger is just like my trigger finger is just like stuck or like my hand is just numb from like holding like 3 pounds in my hand all day. And I've literally been trying to Google like hand exercises. They're like, rub tennis balls, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, let me just like rub tennis balls. Or they're like, oh yeah, like do like 10 reps of like finger push-ups, or like all these crazy things. Yeah.
How does one do a finger push-up? Show me right now.
Is just going to confuse you.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not expensive, and you just sit there and you squeeze, and you could do it anywhere.
I'm definitely gonna buy one of those, because I'm telling you, I literally sat here. I was in the rabbit hole of trying to figure out hand exercise.
Hold on a second. Wait. Okay, you know what? This just went into a whole nother vibe.
No,
okay.
But this is artist aftermath. Like,
but how
you need insurance on your hand.
So you went down the rabbit hole and then you did finger push-ups.
Yeah, like it was like
you too, Albert. You went down the rabbit hole too. And you push-ups. Show me right now. Show me right now. I need to know. Both of you, go.
Well, I don't know.
Give me 10.
I don't know nothing for finger push-ups. I just have my little squeeze thing. It's good for road rage. You put it in the car. Someone in front of you is making you mad. You just sit there and you squeeze it, and you don't yell expletives at them.
I don't get much road rage. Do you get road rage?
I can.
Really?
Albert.
You know what? I can't see you getting angry, but I feel like when you do, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Well, it's like they're not moving at my speed.
What'd you say, Albert?
I need the whole world to move at my speed. That's
that makes sense. Albert's like, I don't mean to sound selfish, but I need the whole world. If I'm going 60, everybody else needs to go 60. Okay,
I feel like
how it goes.
I feel like Albert's like a polite. If he did get upset, polite road rage.
Yeah, like I kid, but it is good for the car, because you're just there, especially like in traffic, passes the time,
Yeah.
And it could, it'll take care of those artist hands.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna buy one of those. Albert, after this, do you mind please sending us the link to one? Because I'm definitely gonna need it.
Yeah, because you see these hands, they're sore.
Oh. You're venting. It's okay.
They're sore.
They're sore.
Sometimes
they hurt. Yes.
They do hurt.
Yes.
All right. So we're getting into, we're actually at 40, almost at an hour.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about the show.
Yes.
Because that's why we're here tonight. We're here because we want to talk about Albert Shivers and we want to talk about the show coming up. So obviously we have a little poster in the back, as you can see.
I'm going to take it off the wall.
So let's talk a little bit about, let's take it off the wall. There you go. Albert got it. Here's it representing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit, because obviously, this is our, like we said earlier, for anyone who is just coming in or watching this later, not watching the whole thing. But obviously, if you came to the Black Culture Show in February,
yes,
you knew that it was on and popping. It's pre-COVID, right? Yes. So you knew it was on and popping, full house. Everything was crazy. It was a really diverse, really amazing turnout.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we have to do things a little bit different this time around. So the first thing we want to talk about is that safety protocol and what we're doing to make sure that we're keeping everyone safe as possible during this pandemic we're in. So the first thing is that obviously we're going to have masks being worn mandatory at all times. That's from us, and obviously whoever comes into the building.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you do not have one, we can provide you with one at no cost. It's just, we want to keep you safe and we want to keep ourselves safe. And of course, we've heard all the stories of, what it could be, what it can't be, but this is our best defense and we want to follow that.
Right. as well as social distancing as much as possible. And that's why we have limited the amount of people that are allowed in the facility at once. Facility at one time. So if you're on here now, you see a little pop-up at the bottom of the screen that says Jazz Ain't Dead Art Exhibition.
Now you did what I did. Now this is just a side note, okay?
Art exhibit.
There's going to be a moment of bloopers of me promoting the show because I couldn't say art expedition. So
yes, you said it wrong again.
Yeah, so either way,
But
I couldn't say the word.
But the fact that you're giving a tour,
yes,
it is a little bit of an expedition too.
Yes.
Oh,
Albert is game.
That's see, and this is why we need you, okay? Because you make everything right. You break it down, you do it politely. You could just be like, "Come on, you guys, you already know."
Here's the thing though, like it's got to be fun. It's all, I think, in the general, art has to be more fun.
Yes.
Hold that thought for 1 second, Albert. I would say log off on Instagram and then let's get back on Facebook because my phone died. We're trying to interact with the audience while we're on live. So just jump on Facebook, see what's up. But sorry, Albert, I didn't mean to interrupt you. My phone just abruptly died. I didn't even realize it was dying.
Yeah, it just definitely died, but it's okay.
Sylvia's, hold on. Hold for 2 seconds, y'all. You just gonna get off of there?
What? I don't know.
You can take it off of there.
I can.
Yeah, because you're not on Instagram Live anymore.
Oh,
yeah. And then so hold on, Albert. Sorry, y'all. We just gotta get up, get on the live here. Okay, so now you can interact.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Got
Turn
it.
it down
I
now.
got it.
Hold on. Please hold. Please hold.
I got it.
Camera off.
I got it.
Camera's off. Just kidding.
Wait a minute.
All right. Sorry, Albert. So go ahead. Proceed. Sorry about that.
No, that's all. I was just referencing on what you guys were up to. But yeah, you were saying about the
protocol.
Yeah.
So obviously, social distance is a limited amount of people. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you're gonna see something that pops up. That's actually our event that we have. So if you look in the event, you'll see that there's different time slots available. I know right now, it's obviously right now it's a very difficult, challenging time for a lot of people with everything going on. So if you can make it, we'd love for you to come out. The fee is $9. And what that fee does is it helps us, keeps us open, and it keeps us doing different things for different artists. And keep us doing community events. Obviously, Sylvia and I, we're going straight out of our pockets to make this happen. So we really do appreciate the support. Not, just what's the word I want to say? Never required, always appreciated though.
Yes. Absolutely.
So, but anyway, moving along with that. So when you go into the event, you'll see that there's different time slots. Each time slot, we only allow 10 people at a time into the exhibit. So what we do is, I think it runs for an hour and a half.
Yes. And
then in between that time, before the next show, we sanitize everything, doorknobs, anything that anyone can touch. And obviously, we have, if you've been in our facility before, you see that we have a bathroom in the hallway where you can wash your hands. We're gonna have sanitizer on deck. Everything that we can do to keep everybody feeling safe and to be as sanitary as we possibly can.
Right.
So yeah, and I think we're gonna do some to-go things too, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're
We're
not gonna announce it yet, but obviously, again, if you were at the Black Culture Show, we had wine, we had a bunch of goodies, and from what I understand, because I didn't get any, but I got a little bit of sangria at the end. But from what I understand, it was delicious. That's what I heard.
Refreshing.
You gotta get to the art show early if you want food.
Yeah.
Yes.
It always goes quick, and sometimes people just go for the food.
They do. Yes, exactly. So disclaimer, yes, I'm right with Albert. Come early if you would like to get anything to go.
Yeah. You always want your best pieces of art hanging right above the food.
Yes.
That's a good point.
That's a good incentive.
I never would have thought of that. That's a really good point. Sorry, I'm just trying to see the Facebook. She's not letting me see the Facebook. Just trying to keep. What's up, David? What's going on? You still there? Good to see you. My man David.
He's another good artist.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So what else do we want to say about the show we got coming up?
I just hope everybody gets a chance to stop in for whatever time slot they're available for. And now do keep in mind, if you're not able to get to the event, we will definitely try to work on something after the fact so you guys don't miss out on Albert's work. I mean, we definitely want to make sure that, you know, we're not holding anybody to coming in person, because we totally understand some people are fearful. Some people are still at home.
It makes sense.
So, you know, we definitely want to make sure that everybody understands that we're going to try to be as accommodating and inclusive as we possibly can. Just because obviously we don't want you to miss out on the opportunity to miss Albert's work. So we're going to do what we can to make it visible.
It's going to be a good night. And I would definitely recommend anyone who's watching or watches after, please invite artists from the area. That's very important, because we want artists to come in, see what we got going on, because you could be next having a show. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is very important right now, because we're giving artists the opportunity to show their stuff.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And we need to get people's artwork just off of Instagram. And I feel like like I said earlier, we're in an Instagram age. Mm-hmm. And Instagram and Facebook is great for promotion. But trust me, it's a completely different experience
when you see it
in person. People get to experience your work in person.
And and especially for Albert's work and the detailed, meticulous work that he puts in, it's just amazing the way that he is so detail oriented, and that on Instagram, it's not, it doesn't hit it the same way that it hits in person. It just doesn't. It doesn't.
But keep doing your thing. You know, if that's all you can do right now, definitely. Like, we're not saying that it's a bad thing. You know, but keep doing your thing. But you know, do keep in mind we're located in Stroudsburg. We're looking for artists right now. We are open to all types of stuff. Photographers, artists. What else did you say? Like
sculptors. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, we can make it happen. You know, so just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah.
Instagram is a fantastic tool.
Yes.
For artists. And you guys are right. Like, nothing is gonna beat seeing any pieces in person, especially the larger ones.
Right.
Plus, like I said before, you know, the human element. You get yourself, I'm the biggest loner on earth, and is gonna be nice to be around people, you know?
Yeah.
You spend so many months, you know, locked away in exile now. You wanna,
real.
You never know who you're gonna meet. You're gonna meet schmucks, and you're gonna meet awesome people too.
Yes.
But you know, so just to have that interaction with people around art, you know, it's almost like a dinner where the art's the food. So you consume a little art and you interact, you know.
Yes. Exactly. I absolutely agree with that. 110%.
I also wanted to add to, obviously the tickets are on sale right now at www.stevieartculture.com, or you can click on the link at the bottom of this video that says Jazz Ain't Dead Art, and you can see we have the dates right there for you. Saturday, August 22nd and August 23rd. That is the 2 days. So that's Saturday and Sunday. And click on there, you see the times, everything. I also want to say that if you can't purchase a ticket online, we are going to give the opportunity for people for walk-ins.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But please make sure you check out the information, because if you want to be on time so you can get into that tour, it is going to be a tour.
Yes.
A mini tour. You know, we're going to walk through with you. We're going to talk about the art. We're going to explain some things, and it's going to be a good night.
Yes.
But tickets will be available at the door, as long as there are tickets available, because like I said, that 10 person slot, and we can't really go above that 10 person slot for the safety of everyone.
Yep. She's touched upon everything.
Yep. I just want to make sure, okay?
No, just folks will jump on you.
Say it again, Albert.
Folks will jump on you if you're not clear.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
For sure. So, I mean, Albert, I think we're coming to the end here.
Yeah.
Tell the audience where they can find your work and where they can find out more about you.
Okay, well, there's a number of places. So you could find my work on Instagram at Albert Shivers. Here, wait a minute. I have a whole thing here. You can find my work there.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, he's got it already. Look.
Albert's classic handle little piece of paper. I love it.
Wait, here. Screenshot. Hold on. Beautiful.
And so there's always new stuff going up on there. On Facebook, same thing, Albert Shivers. There's also the Facebook like page, which is Albert Shivers Visual Artist. And yeah, you could also check out the Albert Shivers YouTube channel, where that's where you could find the podcast. You could also find, I don't do it as much as I'd like to, but I have this video series called Insomnia Art, which is my own version of time lapse, me doing art. You know, I film it and then time lapse it, speed it up real quick. There's a few of those on, maybe about 4 or 5 of those on YouTube too.
On you,
why am I just not hearing about this?
And the crazy thing is, I was gonna ask you if you've ever done time lapses, and there goes the answer.
I don't know how I feel about this. Am I turning red because I'm upset?
Oh, it's right here.
You see this? You see this?
I do. I see a hue.
I'm upset. Really? Did you just snort just now? I apologize. Continue, Albert. Tell us where they can find you. Keep going.
Well, no. Well, first, I'm sorry you didn't know about those, but they're there, and some of them are better than others.
That's okay.
I'm hot. I'm hurt.
I don't.
I didn't know about this.
I'm hurt.
I
really did want to ask, and I didn't.
Do you see these cheeks? Look at my cheeks. How do they look? Red.
Yeah.
Because I'm emotionally hurt. But I forgive you. It's okay.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it.
I apologize. I'm extra. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. I'm extra. So continue. Go ahead. Sorry.
But they're there. There's all sorts of stuff on the YouTube channel in relation to art and the podcast.
Yeah.
And again, the podcast is on all the major podcast platforms and YouTube. Planet Shivers, you guys are on. That's a great episode. I have a lot of visual artists on, both local ones and ones from afar.
Yes.
And I'm constantly working on getting new ones. And it's not just visual artists, it's musicians. And again, just interesting folks.
Awesome.
Yes,
coming up this week.
Quite the variety on there. I love it.
And that's what I'm going for. And coming up this week will be Louis Armstrong's daughter, Sharon Fulton. And also on with her is the director of the film, John Alexander.
Ooh. So
he jumps on a little bit too to talk about the process of making the film, not only making it in general, but now making it, while COVID's cooking.
That's interesting.
Because they didn't want to stop doing it.
Right.
So they had to adjust their procedure.
Right.
Most of us have to keep the film going.
Right. Absolutely. We're all just adjusting and accommodating. You know what I mean? So that's very looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that Louis Armstrong's daughter. That's gonna be wild.
Yes.
Wild. Yeah, it was crazy.
Alrighty, so you typed everything in. Okay, perfect. Yes. All right, y'all. So we're gonna close up. We're gonna wrap up, and before we leave, we just want to say again, you can learn all about CB Art Culture. That's short for Create and Be Art Culture. And what we do, we're located in Stroudsburg. You can go to our website, www.cbartculture.com. You can follow us on Instagram at CB Art Culture. So just typing all that stuff in now. And of course, you can go on cbartculture.com and learn more about Albert Shivers, and our Facebook page. Obviously, if you're watching, you're probably watching it from the Facebook page. It's live, obviously, but just in case, you can go to www.facebook.com/CBArtCulture, or just type in Creating the Art Studio. All right, y'all. So we're gonna sign off now. Albert, it was a pleasure.
I just want to say one more thing.
Go ahead. Yep.
You guys in the gallery, like you guys are going to be the future of art in Strasbourg.
Oh,
I appreciate that.
You.
I appreciate that, Albert. We appreciate
really
that.
Do. Now I'm getting red.
I was already there, but now she's there.
Now I'm there.
Albert,
My goal was to make you both turn red by the end of the show.
Well, you did that. Thank you, Albert. We really, really do appreciate that. And we honestly, like, definitely, like, I feel like I've made a great friend and you're a phenomenal artist. And we definitely, obviously, have started this journey together. And I mean, I know we have more things combined to do together with our work relationship, friendship, things like that. And I thank you for
absolutely, that. Absolutely. And Albert, let me tell you something. You are also the future.
You are.
As well. And we're excited to carry this journey on with you together while we all grow together.
Absolutely.
That's the plan. You know what I mean?
I'm ready. I'm right there with you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Got you.
All right, Albert. So we're going to sign off. Call me.
Okay.
We're going to hang up. Give me a call.
Okay.
My phone's dead.
Thank you, everybody who watched, who sat through this. Thanks for all the folks who are watching.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you for everyone who watched and actually put up with me for an hour.
As
okay.
Well.
I know it's a lot.
It's
so,
okay. It's
just,
all good. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I know we are a comedy show, so thank you for staying tuned.
See y'all later, all right? All right, Albert.
Thank you, Albert.
Take care. See you guys later.
You too.
All right. All right. Bye, y'all.